Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Celtic Way Sitdown with Tony Haggerty and Sean Martin. We're delighted to be joined on the pod today by a trustee of the Kano Foundation. Now, many Celtic supporters will have heard the name Kano Foundation, but they might not know exactly who they are, what they do, and what they're all about. So, here to fill us in on everything that is great about the charitable work that both the Kano Foundation and Celtic Football Club do, and what they're all about, is trustee Claire Murray. Hello, Claire.
Hello, how are you both?
On
Not
behalf of
bad,
the
yeah,
Celtic,
yourself?
very good.
I'm good, grand, thank you.
On behalf of the Celtic Way, we extend a warm welcome to you, Claire. And I was
Yep.
looking in the Kano Foundation, and I love this phrase, and I'll explain why later. Since season 2010-11, we have been giving kids a matchday experience they will never forget by providing them with a modern day lift over the turnstile. Now, first and foremost, Claire, can you explain the roots of lift over the turnstile and the ethos of the Kano Foundation and what you and Celtic do? But I'll come back to that phrase
Okay.
later on.
The Kano Foundation, we take kids to football games basically. That's the root of what it is that we do. The Kano was set up to give kids a modern day lift over the turnstiles. So we have 180 season tickets at Celtic Park, just behind the goals in the Lisbon Lions. Some people might have seen the kids kind of going mad and swinging their scarves and stuff. And anyone can apply to come to a game with the Kano, regardless of their background, where they're from, and we provide them with basically a match day experience at no cost to themselves, their clubs, their parents, their schools.
Brilliant. Now, why, Claire, what can I say? Why is it so important for Celtic as a club to give as many kids a day out that they will never forget?
Well, so we're actually not related to Celtic Football Club. We're a standalone charity on
Right,
ourselves, and I know
okay.
Celtic do kind
Mhm.
of all their own thing over at the other side. But for us, we get kids who come to the games who have never been to the football before, who maybe don't have a parent that's
Mhm.
interested in it, maybe don't have the money to take their kids
Mhm.
to the games. They maybe live really far away. Like we get kids come over from Ireland, Europe, the south of England, and they wouldn't have the chance to get to a game otherwise. And that's why the Keno basically exists is to give them that experience.
You sent us some case studies before it as well, and I noticed that you mentioned the South of England there. I know this is the North of England I'm going to cite, but one of the case studies, the boys actually turned from a Liverpool fan into a fully fledged Celtic fan. I
He
noticed. Do you
did.
find that happens a lot when once they've sampled Parkhead?
Absolutely. So, as I say, we go to Celtic games, but we
Mhm.
also take kids to, we've been to games down in England as well. We take them to women's games. And the kids that come, they're not exclusively Celtic fans.
Mhm.
We had a kid who, the last time I was at the game, he was a St Mirren fan, which I found quite surprising. But we also get Rangers fans, Motherwell fans,
Yeah.
and all the kids kind of come along. They have a great day out. But yeah, that kid was from Somerset and he was a Liverpool
That's what it was.
supporter. Came up to the game and then was talking to his teacher afterwards about we won the game. So now he's firmly in the Celtic camp.
Is that
Sorry, Tony. I was just going to say, talk us through a day, roughly, what the day in the life of a kid that attends a Celtic match on behalf of the Kano Foundation would be. Because I notice you provide a lot. You say yourself, you get lunch, no cost to themselves and stuff.
Yeah, so there's two different days that the kids get because sometimes if it's a midweek game, if it's an evening
Mm-hmm.
game, it's slightly different to the weekend. So the Saturday, Sundays, we all meet at St Michael's Church Hall, just round the corner
Mm-hmm.
on the Gallagate, and the kids all come in. I'm sure you can imagine what it's like having like 150 kids in a church hall. It's absolute chaos, but
I've got one in a house. I think that's plenty.
I know sometimes you walk in, it's just a wall of noise, but they're all having such a good time. So they come in, they get a goodie bag. So it's like a Keno branded bag that's got juice and crisps and their hat and their scarf that they get to wear to the game. They also sometimes quite often get little added extras. So Gio Thompson, he does quite a lot of the paintings, Celtic paintings. He quite often does prints for us, and the kids get that as a wee takeaway for afterwards, along with their hat and their scarf. So they have lunch, and then the volunteers. So we have a group of match day volunteers who run the actual match days, and like they're amazing with the kids. They will give them like safety instructions, not what here's what to do in the stadium, here's what not to do, and then they get them chanting, so they get them all excited, and the kids kind of sing a few songs. So Jota's song is a favourite, and also SpongeBob SquarePants for some reason. So once
A
they are like
well-known Celtic man.
exactly, yeah, it's a mixed bag. So once they are suitably riled up, we walk round to the stadium with them, and if you've ever walked that way to the stadium, you can usually hear them. They're like singing, they're shouting, and then the kids go into their seats. So as I said, we sit behind the goals, in the Lisbon Lions, and we've just got a big kind of section there. So they all go in there, and make lots of noise.
I have to say, Claire, I think that would be a very fulfilling part of being part of the Kano Foundation, because the just the joy on kids' faces that to experience something like that would make it all the worthwhile for, I think, a lot of the volunteers that volunteer for the Kano Foundation, and good on them as well. A hat tip to them to do that. But just seeing so many kids, you see up to 150 at a time, screaming, shouting, singing, and just generally being happy is, I don't know, there can't be fewer better sights, I think, than that.
No, and like I don't get along to all the games, but there are a core group of volunteers who go now they have their own season tickets, but they never sit in their own seats. They all just come, they sort out all the kids, and see the sight of them walking down the stairs, and especially kids who are Celtic fans but have never been before, and just their faces, like just seeing Celtic Park for the first time, is pretty amazing. So yeah, and on the days that it's not like a Saturday, for example, the kids all meet outside the stadium beforehand. Again, you've probably seen them making loads loads of noise, and then they get vouchers, and they get like a hot meal from the stand inside Celtic Park. So yeah.
Can I ask? I know it's not part of the practice just now, but is there going to be like wheelchair access for kids in wheelchairs in the future? Is that something that you're looking into and probably going to embrace at some point, I would have thought?
Yeah, so our seats just now, as I'm sure you both know,
Yeah.
Celtic Park is full, and there's a huge waiting list. So it's not that easy to extend
Yes.
the area that we have, which, as I say, we have a waiting list. We have 180 seats. We'd love to have 1,000 seats, but unfortunately, that's not possible. But people do get in touch with us, and they do have, kids with disabilities or kids with sensory. Um,
Yeah.
sensory. I
Yeah.
can't think of the word, but yeah. And then what happens is we kind of just liaise with Celtic and work with Celtic in order to um, get that sorted out. I think I said before we're not affiliated directly to
Yes.
Celtic, but obviously we work pretty closely with them for match days and for things like that as well. So
You mentioned a waiting list there. I believe there's some 4,000 kids on that waiting
there
list to
are.
come to the games with you. I think that's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think the last year as well, like cost of living,
Yeah.
kids not getting to the football during the pandemic, it's just all really spiked demand. And yeah, we're currently sitting at 4,000 kids. So we've had to close the waiting list for the moment. Just it was getting out of hand, but we're kind of working on bringing that down. At the moment, we just go to league games mainly, with kind of earlier Scottish Cup, or League Cup games at the moment. But as I say, we're also taking them to women's games. We're looking into kind of branching into maybe doing other sports as well for kids that are interested in that. But yeah, people can still put their name into the website to be emailed when the waiting list opens back up.
But that list will come down. You'll get through them all, yeah, at
Oh
some
yeah,
point.
that's the aim. I think there's like different things that happen throughout the year, like friendlies, or as I
Yeah.
say, the earlier rounds of the cups and stuff that we try and get loads of tickets for, to give kids that experience.
We'll have all the links that you need, by the way, in the description to this video, as well as on the article that will go on the website, just in case you're watching and you're wondering how to do it. But that leads us on to the next one, which is not so much for kids going, but in general terms, how can other people get involved with helping or donating and just generally just being of assistance to the Kano Foundation?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go back a bit. I'm not gonna answer your question. I'm gonna sound like a politician here, right? But how the Kano started was in
Yeah.
2008. A guy called Martin Kane was a huge Celtic fan, lived over in Australia, and he developed Devic syndrome. Now, he posted lots on the Celtic Quick News forum. He was like a regular contributor, and everyone on the forum came together to raise money to make modifications for his house, so that he could get home from hospital. And then they massively exceeded all the money that they needed, and ended up taking kids to Celtic Park, kids that had helped out with the raising of the money to Celtic Park. So that's where that beginning comes from. And since then, everything has been done just by people donating and fundraising. People run marathons for us. Like, we had a guy who covered his whole car in vinyls and drove around France. So, and like, we also do things like we have a Kano dance every year, an end of season dance. We have a bucket collection, and that's usually the first game of every season.
Right.
So people can donate to the Kano on the website. If you're doing anything charitable and you want to put a portion to the Kano, that can be something that we can do through Just Giving as well. Support us at the bucket collections. You'll see all the kids kicking about with their buckets. And also, we have things like the end of season dance where anyone's welcome to come along. You just pay for your ticket and you get to have a great night. So keep an eye out for all that stuff as well.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's excellent. I mean, you also mentioned that every kid gets a lunch and a goodie bag, and as well as a scarf as a memento.
Yeah.
But there's also such a lengthy waiting list to attend the game. But I mean, is that to hook them in quickly and get them to the sport? Celtic to say, here, nailing your colours to the mast, because I would imagine that's a big thing for kids, isn't it? Getting a hat and a scarf, and as you say, maybe an art form as well from the artist. I mean, that's quite a nice gift to get, isn't it, of a day when you're there?
It is, yeah. I think one of the team that we were talking about earlier on from Somerset, the teacher was saying that he still sees kids kicking about the school with their little green and white bobble hats on. So we're representing all the way down in Somerset. So yeah, it's just more so that they're warm at the game, and so they've got something to take away with them. But it helps.
I notice you've got a zipper on with the Kano branding on it. Is this?
Yes.
I believe you can get merchandise. Is it? Am I right in saying it's not online though? It's at the Carlton Bookstore on the Gallagate. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. We are looking to get an online shop set up, but it's a bit of work and a bit of logistics as well for just everyone's volunteers as well. So it's fitting that around everything else. But the Carlton Bookshop, they have hats and scarves as well, and we're also looking to work with a couple of other like physical shops around the stadium too. So yeah, if
So it's
anyone
technically
wants
London
to,
Road Carlton Books, in it. It's not the Gallagate, it's London Road, in it.
yes,
But,
yeah.
just before someone walks about the Gallagate looking for it, but
Yeah, I think they'd make great Christmas presents. So if anybody wants to go down and buy a
I
couple,
like it.
and support Carlton Books as well, that would be great.
I saw one of the pictures, and the kid was holding up a scarf, and it was like 13,000 kid to come. I mean, in terms of numbers, is that you've obviously surpassed that, but I mean that's an incredible amount of kids to come and watch Celtic.
Yeah, it's 13,000 just now. We're gonna hit 14,000 on the first game back after Christmas. I think that's the 7th.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so they have a great day. Whoever ends up being the 14,000th kid in, like, they get on the pitch. They quite often get to meet a player.
Oh wow!
It was Stephen Welsh
Well,
last
that,
time. Yeah, and Jacob was the 13,000th kid, and he was over from Belfast, and he just kept going, I can't, I don't know what to do. He couldn't get his words out, and I was like, you're going to be. I'm
know
going to
the
have to tell
feeling.
all my friends like this is the best day of my life. So yeah, it was pretty good.
But myself and Sean interviewed Mark O'Neill last week on the pod, so we
Oh,
know
wow.
that feeling. We were
We
stumbling,
were probably like Jacob,
stumbling, stammering wrecks in front of the great man. So we can understand Jacob's empathise with Jacob right away. But as I say, Sean, that's a massive thing, isn't it, for any kid to meet a first team footballer, through the Kano Foundation, and by virtue of being the 13,000, 14,000, whatever, and I think that's a wonderful thing, because the wonderment in a young kid's eyes when they meet a Celtic footballer, Claire, you don't need to say anything, really, do they? Their face says it all, to be honest.
Yeah. I was there taking photos, and I think I was almost as excited as the kid. I was like starstruck, but yeah, I think he'll have that photo pinned up on his wall for a good few many years, definitely.
You mentioned a couple of times about the fact that you sit in the one section, and albeit you would like it to have a bigger section and stuff. But Stephen Welsh coming and seeing the 13,000th kid and different things. The club must be. I know you're a separate thing, but the club must be quite accommodating then with these.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it was the Hibs game just not that long ago.
The James
We had
Forrest hat-trick one, maybe. No?
Yes, it was. It was that one. We had like loads of the players come over and meet the kids. So I'm sure you can imagine Kyogo is like the hero of every single one of them. And Kyogo
He's the
came
biggest
over.
kid there.
Well, exactly, yeah. And I think he met every single one of them. So Kyogo, Greg Taylor, Matt O'Reilly, Juranovic, they all came over and met all the kids, and it just absolutely made their day, made their week probably even more. So
It's a very likeable squad, Tony, and I think that just talks to that as well. That speaks to that kind of element of it.
You can imagine Kyogo being in his element there, can't you? Like so him and Jota just being surrounded by happy kids, because there's an element of being a child when you're playing football, isn't there? You are fulfilling your kind of boyhood, childhood dreams, actually playing football for a living. So you kind of regress back into that. It's like growing up idolising certain
The best
players.
players don't forget that feeling, I think,
yeah,
of course. And I think I think it's wonderful that the Celtic players embrace that and really do engage with the kids from the Kano Foundation, because it's a huge thing in their life, the actual day, but to actually meet the players, as you say, that's a wonderful thing, and it's a memory that lasts forever. I've still got a picture of myself getting a medal from Danny McGrain when I was about 7 or something, playing for Kirkton Wanderers in East Kilbride, standing beside my brother, and there's the bearded Danny, and it was, what, after that, it was just like, it was the greatest moment ever. It's like, it's Danny McGrain, and I just remember how I felt.
yeah.
So and it never leaves you. I don't think as a kid that feeling ever leaves you.
No, I mean we don't have the players over every game, but
Yeah.
Celtic do give us send us over players for big moments and stuff. And yeah, you're right. Like the look on their faces is it's just unbelievable. It's kind of it makes your week, it makes your kind of month as well. It's just such an experience to see that.
Before we start wrapping up, I'm just going to go back to, just in case anybody's watching and does want to donate. As I say, the links will all be in the description. But am I right in saying it's not just like just giving? You can do it bank transfer, text, Amazon Smile, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't need to be just giving, that kind of thing. It doesn't even need to just be cash.
Yeah, I mean, it can be. I don't think we have text set up, but Amazon. If you buy things through Amazon Smile at Christmas, then you can choose us as your nominated charity as well. Just Giving, you can do it through bank transfer on the website and through PayPal too. So there's a variety of different ways that you can do that, and every single penny goes to either paying for the tickets for the actual games. It goes to hats and scarves and juices or lunches. It's not, there's no extraneous costs outside of basically bringing the kids to the games or bringing them to a sport and feeding them.
And if you want to volunteer, there's a section on the website as well about how to go about that, isn't there?
There is, yeah. I mean, we have volunteers that do loads of different things. It's our Christmas party this weekend, so
Nice.
there's quite a lot of presents in one of the I'm not going to say whose because there's quite a lot of presents in their house just now. But you know, it's things like organizing Christmas parties. It's stuff like helping out on the actual match day or doing a bit of social media. It's anything. So whatever various skills or interests people have, drop us a wee line. Would love to hear from you.
You mentioned the volunteers. How many do you actually have, Claire? What?
Oh,
Two.
You're-
Roughly.
Roughly a
There's a-
ballpark.
there's about 10, 10, 15 plus people who regularly help us out. So that go to all the matches and do all the organization and things. And help us do things like organize the dance and all of that as well. So
I
yeah.
think that's magic. I
And
really
then
do.
there's
And big up
trustees
to
on
them.
top of that.
I would say give them a wee round of applause
Oh.
because that's to give your time and to do something, that's I would have thought would be quite rewarding. Is you have to. I think you have to applaud that, and obviously earlier a hat tip to that, Sean, and you say well done to the Kano Foundation volunteers.
Definitely, aye. I think 100%, yeah.
Yeah, they're a great bunch, and they all love football, love taking the kids to the football. I don't think any of them have seen a full game in years, but they do it every week, rain, shine, whatever it is, they're there, and it's fantastic.
Can I ask you, Claire, what's the best part of being involved in the Kano Foundation for yourself?
I think I mentioned it before. It's going to the game and it's standing watching the kids walk into Celtic Park, and just seeing their faces. It's so rewarding, and it's magical basically. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the
it's
best
like
bit.
taking them to the Magic Kingdom, isn't it? When you walk up the stairs, and Sean, you'll have that with your daughter soon.
Better than that.
Yeah. How old is your daughter, Sean?
She's 10 months, so I don't think it will be anything soon.
We'll probably have the waiting list down by the time she's
I
ready
hope
to
so.
come.
It'll fly by, Sean. Trust me. Believe me, it'll fly by. But no, I mean, is there anything else you wanted to add, Claire, to this broadcast and to let people know anything else that they need to know?
No, do you know, just while I'm here, there's probably a lot of people that are watching this that have supported us in the past. And thank you so much. Like, obviously the Kano couldn't keep going without the generosity and the help of everybody who supports us and supports Celtic in various different ways. So yeah, really appreciate it.
Well, before we wrap up and before we go, I said at the start about the lift over the turnstile quote.
Oh yeah.
And ironically enough, Claire, I've just written a book and it's called Gonna Gi's a Lift O'er, Mister. There you go.
Wow.
The title, of course, is an homage to the same ethos as that of the Kano Foundation, and it resonates a lot with me because I was still going to the football when the old-fashioned turnstiles were still in operation. So I'm showing my age there, Sean.
Just a tad.
Aren't I? Yes, indeed. But yeah, and that's a well-worn phrase that I remember from the old Celtic Park before it got done up with the turnstiles and kids standing outside saying, "Going to give us a lift over, mister." And my dad was often asked while we were going. My brother and I used to go with my father, and and I just for years it just kind of resonated with me in terms of I just thought I always remembered it, and I thought, you know what, if one day I sit down and write some random scattering of thoughts, I think I'll use that phrase as the title for the book. So I did that, and it's just been published on Amazon, self-published. So it's it's something that when I saw that when I was looking on the website, I was like, oh, that's
resonated. Yeah.
And I just think it's just a brilliant thing, and it just transports me back to my childhood and memories of games and being excited and that wonderment that you had. It was when you first go to Celtic Park, it was like going from black and white to colour. My father took me to see Clyde originally, and that's the way I can only describe it. He took me to Shawfield, the old Shawfield. Craig Brown was in charge of Clyde at the time. 76, 77. It was Kenny Dalglish's last season at Celtic.
Really showing your age now.
Yeah. We went from Shawfield to Celtic Park, and as I say, it was like going from black and white to glorious Technicolor, basically. And I heard all these things like "Watch your motor, mister," and macaroon bars and all that, and "Gonna Gi's a lift down, mister," that kind of stuff. So it's I think it's wonderful. I think what the Kano Foundation do is terrific, and big up to you, Claire, and thanks for coming on the programme. Really appreciate it. So finally, that just remains for Sean and myself to say we hope you've enjoyed the Celtic Way sit down with Claire Murray from the Kano Foundation. Can't thank you enough for your time and letting the Celtic fans out there know what you're all about, Claire. That was excellent. Really enjoyed it. It's been a wonderful way to spend the time chatting, reflecting on the fantastic work that the charitable arm of Celtic Football Club and especially the Kano Foundation does. I don't know about you, but it makes me even prouder to be a supporter of the club, Sean.
Yep.
And we wish the Kano Foundation the compliments of the season. And thank you all for tuning in once again. Sorry, Sean, you're going to say something there?
No, I was just going to agree with you, Tony. That was all. I was just going to agree with you. And thank you very much, Claire, for coming on. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it wasn't too.
I had a great time. Thank you very much.
Spending half an hour with the two of us isn't for everybody.
Good way to break up a Thursday.
There's worse ways to spend half an hour, Claire, believe me. Not much, but there's worse ways.
There are very much better ways to spend it as well. So we do commend you for coming on.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Really enjoyed that. But this has been the Celtic Way Sit Down with Tony Haggerty, Sean Martin, and Claire Murray of the Kano Foundation. And if you want to get involved, we'll put the links into on the pod. We'll put the links in the what's written on the website as well. We hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thank you.